Hey, what's poppin', fellas? It's your boy here, and we are back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And we got CYL9 coming out here, and we've got the new units. Everyone's been using them and testing them and trying to see who actually is the best one. But to get a really in-depth analysis here, I've got the homeboys FEHology and Oblivion on the channel, so we can see what our individual thoughts are. Joel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent. I would have been happier if they would have given Sharena a style. I feel like she's worthy of a style, you know? That's just, you know, she's Sharena. But,
yeah,
you know, we didn't get that. I didn't even get an SP boost, so a lot of actions are good.
Oh, man. Yeah, Sharena, I feel like, has been disrespected so badly in Fae. So it's finally nice that she actually got something. All right, so Oblivion, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm excited for all the new CYL units. I'm actually excited to play SD for once. It's going to be a good time.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, the meta shift with CYL is always the most exciting, I feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And last year really set a high bar, because I don't know if everyone else agrees with me on this, but I thought the last year CYL meta was probably the overall best meta in a long time. I had so much fun. That's when I made the tacho pasta defense, and like, it was either, people were either running that or the infantry pulse copy pasta. So it was like, those are pretty much the only teams you would see.
Yeah, I mean, SD was really fun for me too, because I obviously had like Felix, and just running around with that was great. And then also Ice, the introduction of Ice made SD really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to break down each of the units one by one, and then we're going to give our opinions on each of them after getting to use them and what we thought they might have been before we got to use them. So why don't we start things off with Byleth, who is our second place winner for the men's division. Now, Byleth's a really interesting unit. To me, he kind of feels like a melee version of Summer Celica. Of course, he's got the style that lets him attack from 3 spaces away, and there's a lot of different options you could go for with the Emblem ring with him. You could go for the Erica ring if you want him to brave and hit 5 times, because he does have Potent 100 on his build. Or you could also just go for range and give him the Sigurd ring, so he can move 3 spaces and attack from 3 spaces away, effectively turning him into melee Summer Celica. So I think he's pretty interesting. He's also more so of an all-around type of unit, where he's, I don't know if I want to say Omni-Tank, if that's like the right way to put it, but he's kind of like a old-school God Sword type of unit, where he's doing a little bit of everything. He's got a decent amount of damage reduction. He's got some true damage going on. Got a little bit of support. Of course, he gave us the long-awaited colorless tome Valor, which is basically everything Valor. So, yeah, he's my hero just for that. But overall impressions for me on Byleth is that he's a pretty interesting unit, and I feel like I don't really have the best grasp on him overall. I feel like I need to use him a little bit more. So, Oblivion, what do you think about Byleth?
I like him a lot. He's really fun. I mean, I love the Emblem Erica style, so this is kind of similar to that. Obviously, the one downside is that you have a cooldown on it, but even so, like, I love Omni Tanks, and he's kind of a combination of an Omni Tank, but also like a melee nuke, which is just a great combination to me. So I've had a lot of fun with him. My problem with him, even at my reaction and now, is that he's kind of lacking in like the stats department, in the sense that like his flat DR is not as high as I would hope it would be, and his damage isn't quite as high as I would hope it would be. But the thing is with infantry right now is that they're missing skills. Like, just straight up, they're missing skills compared to like melee flyers or melee calves. And so I think he actually has a lot of potential, because right now the best B skill for melee nukes is, what, Potent Finish, I think it's called?
Yeah.
But he has Potent already, so you don't even want to run that. So there's a chance he gets a better B skill and gets better. But I think this is just a great unit. He's super fun in summer duels, right? Just being able to like threaten the entire team, like right after a repo or something like that. And in Ether Raids, he can like just destroy buildings to open up stuff. He can nuke himself. He doesn't kill everything. That's my only problem with him. But he's just really fun unit to play with.
Yeah, he's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, where he's just like doing so many things. He may not be the best at any one thing, but he's pretty good at a whole lot of things. So similar to Felix from last year, actually. Kind of felt the same way about him.
Yep.
Yeah, so Joel, what are your thoughts on Byleth?
Right there, what you said, jack of all trades. Anytime I hear that, I immediately panic. And the problem is, like, long term, you're not going to be a jack of all trades. Like your progression is not going to be even across the board. You're going to need some skill to come on and let you fit into some niche, because you're not going to be tip top of the meta. And so that is my huge concern with this unit. And I would have liked to seen them kind of push more into like true damage. And so as he ages, he can go more into a nuke. And that's where, I mean, that's something that Oblivion was just talking about. Maybe he gets that through skills. Maybe there's a new speed-based special that he can really double down on, like Ice Wall. But unless he gets some help, I do worry about longevity. But I can't deny he's fun. Like, he is really, really fun to play with and very creative. And I like creative units. Any unit that promotes creative play, I think, is a good move for IS. So they did a good job. I just, again, I worry about long term.
Yeah, you do bring up a good point there with the jack of all trades thing being kind of like the first type of unit that ages out. Because I feel like when they really hyper focus in on one specific thing that they want a unit to do, they're more likely to age better into the future. Like, for example, I don't know, Baby Camilla, for example, who there's just no end in sight to when she's ever going to fall off. They just made her good forever, pretty much.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
yeah, like when they make units like that are just like trying to do a little bit of everything, at some point there's eventually going to be a fall off period.
Right. I think another thing is that, like, because he has that Emblem Erica-esque effect, he would have been really strong if there weren't near saves in the meta as much. And there has been like an influx of near saves in, like, let's say summer duels or something like that. In E3's defense, you'll see near saves no matter what. Well, typically, right?
Yeah.
But they just introduced Eikthyr too, who kind of acts as another Soren boss. Now he has like immediate competition on the same banner, which kind of sucks, because I think he could have even shown even more if there was less Soren balls. But now you can technically run 2 Soren balls in SD. So I think that's a bit of a sad thing. But I do think that, like, it's not like a end all be all by any means.
Yeah, that is true. And also the new save skill from Hector. I don't know if we want to talk about that yet. We might as well wait until we get to him. But it is an interesting take on a physical save. Being able to counter just everyone that does physical damage, I think, is pretty cool. So, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
There's something that Oblivion talked about, and this was, I forget what. I think this was one of your streams. You were saying that this is the age right now that is all about teams. And there's definitely a lot of ways you can patch up units right now, more than there ever have been before. I mean, just pop Sakura next to him and suddenly he's got additional flat DR and additional true damage. So there are more ways now to patch units up than there used to be. So that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Just I would look for about year 2. We'll see how he's doing.
Okay, so
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing. So I think like I was saying with the teams, definitely like patching up things is great. And so the one thing you really want with a character is uniqueness, and that's what Byleth has. So if you're a big Byleth fan, that's the big thing, is that he has a unique style no one else has. And so you can patch up weaknesses. Don't worry about that.
Right.
The uniqueness is what matters.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why we see Emblem Lyn still being used all the time, even though her damage has fallen off a cliff. Just being able to attack from 6 spaces away is so broken. So, like, that alone, you can just find a way to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that about wraps everything up about Byleth, unless anyone has any final thoughts.
No, that's pretty much all I got for him.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and move on to the next second place character. So we have Baldur, who is the second place for the women's division. Now, Baldur is interesting because not too long ago we actually got the mythic version of her, and a lot of the mythic one's kit is just completely taken into this brave Baldur, and then accentuated even further because her style allows her to change color on the fly. She goes from being a blue bow type into a green bow type, and a lot of her kit, her special, her weapon, and a lot of other things revolve around her having color advantage on the enemies to get the full benefits of what she's doing here. So I think this is like one of the more interesting and unique characters they've ever designed, where you're just able to change their color on the spot like that. We haven't really seen anything like that before, and I mean, I used to joke about this all the time back in the day, but the color triangle doesn't even matter, right? Until it does. So
Right.
now it does matter, thanks to Baldur. And she even gives the Triangle Adept status as a debuff to the enemies at the start of turn with exposure, too. I don't think there were too many units that did that. I think it was just like Fallen Leon with his Refine and I think Maribel.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the only two that I can think of. So it's really interesting that they decided to dust that off and bring that back. So, Joel, what do you think about Baldur?
So, and you said an interesting thing there, and that's that stats don't, or the weapon triangle doesn't matter. And the big thing is, it doesn't matter when you're talking about true damage. And true damage has been ramping up for how long now? So this is them really taking a turn and pushing more towards boosted damage, which we see with Reflex and with this unit, and we've had a couple others that have really kind of steered into that. I'm curious. I like it more because it's easier for them to make fine-tuning pieces to kind of balance it out. But as for the unit, I love this. I think this is a great design. I think she is just powerful enough right now. Like, she does kill BK, but those kills are... It's not something that you can't boost BK up enough to survive this, you know? Mm-hmm. So we don't have a Camilla level power spike, but we have a very solid unit that contributes pretty well, and the bulk is really interesting to me.
That's the one difference maker between her and Camilla. She may not hit as hard as Camilla, but she is way tankier.
So, I mean, everything's going her way, and that's like if a special procs, and if she has weapon triangle advantage, and it's the first hit, 83 flat DR is just insane. Yeah. That is a nutty amount. So, Anyway, that's a very long way of saying I think they did a good job with this unit, and I'm a fan. I think she is very counter meta, but I think she has the ability to stay good longer just because of her style and being able to be both green and blue.
Okay, so Oblivion, what are your thoughts on Baldur?
I love this unit. I love this unit so much. She is so cool. I love the idea of bringing back the weapon triangle. I love the idea of taking advantage of that in a lot of different forms. We were talking about Mythic Baldur earlier and her bulk. I think that Mythic Baldur is kind of, I don't know, like, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by her. But then they took all the cool things from her and brought it over to Brave, and it just works so well. And I think part of that is because ranged nukes aren't known for being like bulky, right? That's not one of their big advantages.
Yeah.
But she has that. And I think that's a big thing because we are in a reflect meta, right?
Yeah.
And in reflect metas, you really need a way to survive. So sometimes you rely on Miracle, right? But the problem is now we have Brave. So now they get faster Miracle. So having a bulky nuke who can really take advantage of Reflex while also having really consistent damage herself and having this new special we'll talk about that just is crazy. It just gives her so much breathing room in my opinion. And also the big thing I see so many people saying this, like, Baldur sucks without weapon triangle advantage. That's not true, right? She can have a neutral matchup against any color, which is big. It allows her to always have the DR, and it always lets her get in that damage she needs to. So I think this unit's just fantastically designed. I love it, and she has room to grow in my opinion. Speed Taker 4 is a 7-month-old skill, which sounds crazy to complain about in Fae, but with the way they release skills, there's a chance we get a better one. And Deadly Miasma is like a year and something. So there is room for her to get even stronger over time. And the other thing, like we mentioned earlier, it is about team builds. And so if her damage starts to fall off, there are ways to boost that with supports, right? So I think this unit's great. I think she's fantastic. And I think that she's going to have a pretty decent life, span, essentially.
Yeah,
so there's another piece that you didn't mention there, in that she pairs really, really well with Camilla.
Does she?
Because of the Deadly Miasma, and she can go in and just spread that everywhere. And it's, a lot of the teams try to counter that by putting down their own stuff, and it's
that's. I didn't even think about that. Like, attack with her first, set up the tiles, and then like Camilla warp in. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what we were saying with Byleth, where he's like kind of trying to do a little bit of everything, I feel like they did focus on one thing with Baldur, and that was combat, where she's just really strong in combat. She's got really good DR, she's got really good damage, she doesn't really do too much else, but does she really need to at the same time? Like, I feel like just having a unit that's that dominant in combat is certainly something that is going to be valuable.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they've set her up to succeed too for like long term. Maybe not, it's Faye, so long term is a relative thing.
Like
but
2
still.
months.
Yeah, maybe she goes 4 months instead of 3. But either way, I think that's really cool. And her special. Let's talk about her special. Arch Rival. This special is crazy.
Dude, I saw this on the FEH channel. I thought it was unique. I didn't think that was going to be inheritable.
Me too.
And then you see the Twitter posts where they post all the new inheritances, and it's like, what? Arch Rival is in there? Why? Dude, this is like a gold border special, honestly. Like, the amount of things you've got here. You got non-pierceable DR, you got Rally Spectrum, and you've got Scowl. And then you got a massive chunk of bonus damage based on attack. And it's not just your attack either. If the enemy has more, you can go ahead and steal theirs. So that could be useful for lower attack units, like Timera, for example. But, yeah, this special is really good. And the only downside that you could say is that it's 5 hits, but that's not even a problem anymore, considering how much cooldown we have and, like, how much cooldown support and all that.
I personally love that. I've been waiting for a long time for them to start moving towards high specials, because last year they've just nerfed specials into the ground. Like, up until recently, I would say specials have just been, sometimes you do less damage by having a special than having a special, which is crazy. So seeing that they're willing to put power into these high cooldown specials, I love that. The fact that it's so adaptive, it works so well. The fact that it has a weapon triangle, part in there, right? That's really cool as well. And then the thing that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, which is kind of crazy, because I literally, if you would have asked me this a month ago, I would have said no. But there's Guard in this cooldown, and Guard is the most. They did this on purpose. This is literally to kill BK and Camilla to deal with them, because both of them don't have anti-guard. And so it's like they designed this to deal with BK essentially. They're like, here you go, here's your weapon. And then they just set it up, right?
Yeah, the dreaded Guard and Scowl combo.
Right, exactly. Which is so interesting. And like Joel was saying, though, like, she doesn't like instantly win against BK. She does have a good matchup against him, but a smart BK player can just build him to deal with her, essentially. Not necessarily like guaranteed win, but to survive, right? Yeah. And I think that's good, right? Adding hard counters, I always hate. So adding a strong counter, but not one that instantly wins, is perfect for me.
Right, it's very matchup dependent. It depends on what rings they have equipped. Like, you can only give the Erica ring to so many people, like just one on the team. And if it's not on Burger King, he can be in a lot of trouble against not just Baldur, but a lot of other units too give him trouble if he doesn't have the Brave. So it is very matchup heavy and depends on team build and support and what units you've got around them. Depends on how things are going to play out. Like, for example, Baby Camilla can pretty much tear through anybody, but not if you're supporting her incorrectly. Like, you gotta make sure you've got some debuffers in there, mid-turn debuffers, so they get around King Freyr and so on. And that is good game design, like you said. It's never clear-cut who's gonna win the matchup.
Which I love. And BK can even use Marthring now, which is so weird to say, but Marthring's actually really good on BK now. Because what you essentially do is you have Marthring and then one cooldown support anywhere, and it lets him keep his special even against Arch Rival, which I think is like, there's little unique things like that. I've been testing a couple past days with everybody. There's so many unique ways to do it, and I love things like that. That's what really makes Faye fun to me, right? Being able to figure out how exactly you have your team perform at like the optimal level. Yeah,
exactly.
You said it. We needed specials back. Like, that is this game's version of critting. And critting is it's at the core of the Fire Emblem experience, we needed that. I'm happy to see that. And I love that they let this be available to all, like, physical damage units.
Yeah, that was the big thing too, because a lot of the best specials are just unique and you can't give them out. So it was a good decision, I think, to make this one inheritable.
I think a really cool thing about this special too is this is such a callback. But if you were there year 1, year 2, what we used to do is we used to plus 10 4-stars, and you give them Triangle Adept, and you give them a Breaker skill, right? And that's how you would beat units. You would build counter units for Arena Assault.
No. You remember the Raven Tome T Adept era?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, obviously, Arch Rival is really expensive, so I wouldn't recommend doing this. But this feels like that again, where you could build a unit to have a specific matchup where you're like, you know what? I need this blue unit to kill this red unit. Let me invest heavily into them.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's like very expensive, so don't do that on like a 4-star. But you know, if you're playing like at a really high meta level, there's options now, right? Before there just wasn't. So now that I love this. I hope they do more of this kind of special.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like the specials have just been the same old, like non-pierceable DR, true damage, once per combat. Like Gust, like how many variations of Gust do we have on all different weapons and unit types and so on? So yeah, it's nice to finally get something that's actually different and good.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
Okay, so that just about covers everything I wanted to say about Baldur, unless you guys have anything else.
Nope, she's fun. She's fantastic. Definitely recommend picking her up.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and move on now to the first place for the men's division. So we have Hector over here. Now, this guy is, you might look at him and think he's just, oh, your run-of-the-mill save unit. How many of those have we already had, right? But he takes what's making the save units good right now and just amplifies it, I think, where all of the best save units are not only the best save units, but they're also the best support units now, too. And this guy is able to do that. He gives out the stat bonuses just like all the other versions of himself. The attack and defense up 6, and then the further blue buff of +3. Then he's also got Fringe bonus, which is pretty cool. Now it's like a ranged version of bonus doubler. So even if they have lull skills equipped or set you up with Divine Bait and Haze or whatever, you can still get some stats out of that, which I think is pretty good. And he's got Warp Bubble, of course, like you would expect from all these armors. But then he also has a new save skill. So he has attack and defense Briar physical save. So now we're converting saves into physical and magic. So it's not just melee and range anymore. Now it's physical and magical. And obviously, the physical one, I think, is just going to be better because you're hitting a larger variety of units there. Whereas magic, you really only hit tomes, and sometimes you see dragons, but not really so much as offensive threats that you would need a save skill to deal with. A lot of the best dragons are just tank units. So you don't really need magic save to deal with them. And then staves as well, which there are actually some good staves like Sakura right now. But I feel like they actually got it right here with the physical save skill, having like protection against sword, lances, axes, bows, daggers, beasts, all of those guys. I feel like those are primarily right now the main sources of damage dealers. Because you got Brave Camilla, one of the best damage dealers. You got the Emblem Erica, again, one of the best damage dealers. You got the new Brave Baldur, who is, again, a physical type. You got the Mythic one, who can also be a pretty good damage dealer with Reflex support. So, right now, a lot of the best damage dealers are just physical to me. So, I feel like this is an interesting take, and it's definitely going to be good in modes where you can only have one save anyway, so you can have, like, kind of a mix between far and near save, but then, because Hector gives the magic save support to allies, too, it kind of covers your bases. So, like, in SD, you have full-on save, you got magic and near and physical save. In Aetheroid's defense, you can have both saves. You can kind of set your team up in a way to not have to run multiple armored units if you don't want to, because he can just give the magic save to anyone with the highest res. So units like, I don't know, Summer Haithrun, for example, who gives the Nectar support, she's got good res, so like she could be an option. So it's more interesting. It opens up team building a little bit more, and it gives you some ways out in Chaos Season and SD where you can only have one save unit. So yeah, I'm actually very impressed by this guy. He does a lot. He's like the roll compression unit, pretty much. He's like your save unit that does all sorts of other things too. So yeah, Oblivion, what do you think about him?
Okay, so this unit's really interesting. He's obviously Soren-esque, where he's trying to make the double save team, right? But instead of having a support unit like Soren, you have your actual save doing it, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Overall, he does offer some pretty powerful support. Like, he has the bonus doubler for Fringe bonus, right? He has neutralized post bonus, which is great. No panic, obviously, you need that. But also the ability to give out, like, the twin save effect to the other magic save is the big one, in my opinion. That's a really powerful effect we've seen more of now. We saw it first on Fallen Alear, right, with Fell Spirit.
Yeah.
So being able to do that, I think, is really, really cool. And the fact, like you were saying, roll compression, right? So before, you had to have a sword and then your two saves, and that took up most of your team in SD.
Yeah.
And in Ether Raids, you couldn't even really do it because it didn't start till turn 1. So the first turn, they could just blast you, right? With Hector, you can actually do it on defense, which is really cool. So I like that a lot. And he overall is pretty bulky, right? The only thing is that I think it does come at a cost, I will say. Like, some of the things I'm concerned about is, and I've seen, is that Loki is really popular in the meta right now. She is very, very popular, partially because Ice Lock came out, right, which made healers a lot better. Also because Nurgle got kicked out of the meta for a while because of the snakes, and then now they add an SD skill that kind of kicked Nurgle in the nuts.
Yeah.
But the problem is that Hector gives out 3 bonuses himself. That means that Loki's always active against him, which means that she can always turn off that magic save, which is a bit scary. Now, like you were saying, though, most of the meta currently is physical units. There's a few magic units in there that can do some damage, like Summer Celica is used with, like, you know, Larry or Lathreder typically, right?
Yeah.
So there are some things there, but I'm scared of that. Also, Duo Thor, everybody that wanted Duo Thor got her for free. Duo Thor is a very, very powerful SD unit still, even though it's been 3 years.
You want to talk about a unit
skill.
that's never going away.
Right, exactly. And then the last thing that makes me nervous about him, or I guess there's 2 more things. The one thing is that when he dies, unlike Soren, both your saves are gone instead of just one. So that's really scary. And then the last thing is the bad side of physical save, in my opinion, is that he's forced into the Camilla matchup. He doesn't have the choice of, like, let's say BK, you run far save, you don't put Black Knight in Camilla's range and you just don't deal with it, right?
Yeah.
He has to fight Camilla. And Camilla is just the meta warping unit right now. She is the broken unit. She kills everything. She kills his Hector. Now, Hector can live, but she kills him most of the time. Just because bonuses. She gets power from bonuses. Unlimited, uncapped true damage off of bonuses, which he gives out 3 himself. And so I don't love being forced into that matchup with her. So that's like my biggest scare about him right now, is that, like, if we get a more powerful nuke, or if just Camilla just stays around, that's something he always has to contend with.
Yeah, that is true, and I mean, I can't really fault him for it, though, because everyone builds to Camilla, so it's like, it's not really his fault. But
Camilla's just a problem.
I mean, in SDS, you can ban Camilla and still have your your Hector gear, so he wouldn't have to worry about her there. And I feel like he is still pretty sturdy against basically everyone else besides her. So, yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but yeah, Camilla is just like the thing. So
he's definitely like best friends with Duomarth. Duomarth and
exactly.
Oh my gosh, he gets so much stronger when Duomarth is around.
Yeah. So Joel, what do you think about him?
I like Duomarth. I am leaning more towards Rhea, simply because how much bulk that she gives him just through the miracle. That's something I'm still with that, though. Keep in mind, guys, like, we're all still playing with these units.
Yeah, they haven't been out for too long yet. So yes, testing's still going on, but yeah, I mean, I do like, on defense teams, I like running Rhea as a potential near save, because like just having that miracle support for your save unit is an extra wall or caveat that Camilla has to get through, so it does help a little bit.
But to go back, and you kind of alluded to this, Oblivion, but it's 2 sides of the same coin. And so Tacho, you were talking about how great it was that all of the threats were physical, and so that was, you could have this one save that dealt with them all. On the downside, you have one save that has to survive them all.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is tough. If he would have gotten Boulder levels of flat DR, we'd be having a different conversation here. But unlike Boulder, who they made be able to take out the most elite far save in the game, they did not make this guy equipped to regularly take out the most prolific nuke in the game for the past 6 months. So that is interesting. And I always worry about units that rely on bulk if they can't stand up to the unit that you're going to see on every Aether Raids offense and defensive match, every SDR, and a lot of the SDS teams, like you said, you're going to be able to ban her, but she's going to be there and you're going to have to waste a spot in order to ban her. So it's something to think about. As far as the creativity goes, I like this unit a lot. I think this is fun. I have heard it. I've heard some really interesting theorization that they may switch to physical and magical save altogether. And I'm not sure if I buy that, but it would be really interesting. Like that is a thing to unravel there if they decided to do that. There's also some. I mean, have you thought about giving his save to BK?
Oh yeah, of course. So you don't have to run him. Just run Burger King and then some other magic save, like I don't know, Rhea, for example, like you mentioned, who is just really good supporter and good save.
I've been. I mean, since the beginning of the year, I've been doing this, but it's gotten better. I've been running Athos. Athos is my man. I love Athos, man. Dude, Athos, I will plug Athos anytime I can.
Dude, magic save,
so much better.
Magic save on him is pretty fire because he's got the Vantage. So
yeah.
It's like you just wreck
exactly. So he is Vantage. Ice Wall is such a massive upgrade for Athos.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I use him on Ether as defense, and he'll just sit there and take hits from everybody. Like it's nothing. And so being able to have the twin save effect on Ice Wall on Athos is great. The only thing I ask, please fix this, is that he doesn't have close counter. We need a close counter seal because it means he can't counterattack to Lin. Anyone with a Lin ring or Lin or Summer Selka, he can't counterattack against.
Yeah.
So that's like a big flaw, and we just need close counter IS. Please, come on.
Yeah,
we got this account 4 years ago.
They gave us Colorless Tome Valor finally. I think just not even for the meta, just for like quality of life. I would love close counter as a seal. It just helps you grind your units better while you're just like auto playing and getting SP. So yeah,
I need you to know the monkey's paw that you are opening there, because I mean, Arena is now going to be filled with ranged units, and we already have enough of those in there. But the other thing I wanted to talk about Arena, we're talking about, like, there's some neat things you can do. This unit owns Arena. I did some testing with this unit, and I just sat him out there and just let the wave of whatever was coming just smash on him. It was very fun and very ridiculous, and handled BK no problem in Arena. And so that's, yeah, if you're a Deer Boy fan and are looking to +10 him, definitely take him into Arena, and he scores pretty well there. So
isn't he like in the highest scoring bin? So he should certainly score high enough, I'd hope.
He's 770, but he doesn't get the DC seal, and he doesn't get high Dragon Wall scoring. So that's
yeah, that is true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Beast getting everything ever. Oh my god.
The other thing, just to tack on to what we've been talking here, and this is a common theme, but in order to be good long term, you really have to hit the RNG of skill inheritance. And I want to see a better B skill for him. I don't just love these. I feel like he's just waiting for something to come along. He can't use Shield Fighter, so he can't go into that niche. But if they gave him like a beast only Shield Fighter that went off of the their style of specials, I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would actually be nuts. Like Shield Fighter for the damage specials instead of like Pavis and Aegis. That would be crazy.
But only for beasts, right?
Only for
beasts.
Okay.
FOMO needs it. Yeah.
The return of the snakes, because that's what the entire community wants.
Never mind.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think that just about covers everything about Hector Deer, unless anyone has anything else.
I think that's all I got.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our final unit now. Why don't I let Joel do the introductions for this one? Joel, you love Sharena so much. Why don't you take it away for us?
Well, after having 2 ults within the entire span of the game, we finally get a Brave unit and force them to put her out. And she is the extra action queen. I think she is basically a hybrid with her duo version and Summer Celica put together. Obviously without the same amount of or the same style, which they should have given her, but never mind that. But anyway, I think that is how she plays. Now, the problem with this unit is what we talked about with Byleth, was that he was a jack of all trades and could be used a little bit everywhere. This unit is definitely an Aether Raids offense unit with some dabblings in SD. And so that's one of the things I worry about, is how many places you can use this unit. But I can tell you, I have been using her in Aether Raids offense, and she is a lot of fun, and I have frustrated a lot of people. So, Tacho, how are you feeling about this unit?
Well, you said she's kind of like a hybrid of the Bride Sharena and Summer Celica. I actually find her to be more of a hybrid of the Bride Sharena and the Duo Plumeria, actually, where she's just like refreshing a bunch of actions. So that's the main use I see for her. Actually, to tell you the truth, I don't even know why Bride Sharena fell off in Aether Raid's offense. Probably the only reason is because her damage fell off. But the amount of actions she can take and the way that she gets her extra actions is one of the things I've always liked about her, where it's just, you just cancel away and then let someone in 3 spaces enter combat, and then she gets her action back, and then she can dual button and get her action back, and she refreshes her own canto every single time. So, yeah, like, this just feels like an upgraded version of the Bride Sharena to me, with a little bit of shenanigans where she can do the same for an ally and refresh them. So my first thought was her best friend is going to be Baby Camilla, and they're just going to be attached to the hip, pretty much. And
Absolutely.
that seems to be just about in line with what's actually happening. In testing for me, in like Aether Raid's offense, which is where I figured Sharena would be at her best, it's exactly as I thought. It's like you run them two together, and they just get a bunch of actions. I'm also a dirty player. I run Gale Force on my Baby Camilla, because why use a damaging special when she just hits a million times harder than anything else anyway? So, yeah, I get the bonus actions on Camilla with Gale Force. I get bonus actions with the Sharena. She also debuffs too mid-turn with the new Shackle skill, which is helpful for Camilla, doing extra damage. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about Sharena. I just wish her DPS was a little better. Like, I feel like she misses out on some key KOs against certain save units like Burger King and some others, depending on like if they have miracle support and whatever. So I wish she could do a little bit more damage on her own, but at the same time, I think it just being able to refresh actions the way that she does, that already carves out a role for her and a good niche that she can fill.
Oblivion, how are you feeling about this unit?
Okay, I think she's cool for Aether Raid's offense, and I think that's where she will be, but I don't think she's good. She's okay everywhere else. And this is the unit I was highest on in my initial reaction. And the reason why is because I misunderstood one thing, and then the other thing I wasn't sure on. So first, this unit has no flat DR. Like, oh my gosh, yeah. They put all of the survival in that miracle. And, you know, if that was like the beginning of the year, that would have been great. But now we have Erica Ring, and that's just like completely destroys her, unfortunately.
It's not just Erica Ring either, but like people run Fatal Smoke on a lot of offenses too.
Yep, true. She is good with reflex if she can actually survive with the miracle, which is nice. But the other thing that really made me like kind of drop my opinion on her is that her condition for her extra action is actually different than Bridal Sharena's. I just kind of read it and I assumed it was going to be Bridal Sharena, like exact same condition. So for Brave, it's you have to have an ally attack, right? For Bridal Sharena, it's just enter combat. So what that means is that if the foe attacks you, you still get that extra action on Bridal Sharena. So I thought that Brave did that. And so I was like, this is crazy, right? You have Bridal Sharena go in or somebody else go in, they attack, they kill something, they attack your save to trade, and then you get 2 actions back. That's broken. That's like crazy action economy, especially in SD.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So that definitely dropped my opinion on her a little bit there. But on the positive, what I will say is that the meta in Aether Raids, I think, is going to shift pretty hard. We've been in a Lin sniper range, a hit and run meta, essentially for 7-8 months, right? Almost. And the introduction of Baldur and Hother as mythics has destroyed the safe defense. And so while you still can do that, right? You can still plan stuff out and you can still go in. I think we're going to be in a meta that is more about extra actions, kind of like a Gale Force, but not exactly, right? I think Sharena is the best enabler of that, like you guys were saying, right? Have Cam go in as the extra unit from the reinforcement, kill something, right? Get the extra action from being in the reinforcement. Sharena gives more actions. Sharena can also use the Makai ring. Sharena can also just have a detect skill. She can just be a detect bot, and that's really good still too, right? Just getting mid-turn exposure and like debuffs, right? So I think she has a lot of possibilities of being a meta unit in Aether Raid's offense once we start shifting even more towards that extra action meta. And I think she's going to be fantastic there. That's where I'm planning to use her with Felix and Cam, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like we're already there, though. Like, we're already in the extra action meta, and we kind of have been for a while. It was like since who was it? I think it was Summer Gulveg was like the first one to have 4 actions on her own. Ever since then, it's like the major Aether Raids offense Gale Forcer has always had at least 3 or 4 actions. So like we've had Gulveg, Bride, Sharena, we had the Valentine Edelgard, who I still use pretty regularly. Before that, there was the Winter Edelgard, who had 3 actions. So like, yeah, I mean, even more so now than ever before with the Balder and Hodor that break the fence. Like you kind of just need a lot of actions now.
Exactly. That's what I think. I think they're kind of forcing us into that meta more. Like that was always a good strategy. Don't get me wrong. But for the 7 to 8 past months, you could just use Lyn. You could just sit back with Lyn and kill things. And if they was annoying, you just press Elm, and then you kill the thing that Elm turned off, right? Like, so now that we're going back into an actual more engaging meta, in my opinion, I'm pretty happy with that because I prefer that playstyle.
The other thing that I wrote you when I watched it, but when I was watching and you have to attack within that range to get Sharena refreshed, you couldn't just canto back into her range. That just broke my heart. Oh, man, that's...
That was the other thing. I forgot about that. Yeah, that killed me.
So she is a little bit more restricted in terms of the extra action thing than Bride Sharena is, where I feel like they kind of nailed it right away on that unit. And then they might have toned her down a little bit. Maybe they were aware of that, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't let people do that. So they decided to nerf her extra actions a little bit on the Brave one.
Right. I will say she works really well with either Lyn, a Lyn ring user, or the new Byleth, because they're pretty easy to keep, within 3 spaces.
Yeah.
I definitely noticed that in SD. I was like, oh, wow, this feels really good when this actually goes off.
Well, and just to piggyback on what Tatcha was saying, in a meta where you want to kill everyone in one turn, that means you equip Repo with her, and you're actually repoing up your main nuke, and so she is in range of them. So that's if you're trying to wipe everything off in one turn, it's not so much a big deal, but it would have made her more flexible. And you always want your unit to be overpowered.
Yeah,
that definitely,
they
definitely accomplished that there. But she's a very good Aether Raids offense unit. One of the ways I rate my units is how many different places I can use them, because I want to use my units.
Yeah, so good point.
That's a little disappointing that she is very much shoehorned into Aether Raids.
Yeah, I would say her more so than the other 3. She feels like more so pigeonholed into the role of being an Aether Raids offense Gale Force unit, and then I feel like the other 3 can kind of mix it up just about anywhere, more likely than her.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that just about covers our overview on all 4 of the units. Now I just want to go in a line. We'll start with Oblivion, then Joel, and then me. I want to know how good you thought each one of the units were on the Fate channel before you got to use them, just reading their kits, and then after getting to use them, how good do you think they are then? So, like, kind of rank them in order from best to worst, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, Oblivion, why don't you start us off?
So, in my initial reaction, I had Balder and Sharena very close, but I gave Sharena the head because I thought she had all the action stuff we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. And then under that, I had Byleth and I had Eignithir in last. After playing with them, I think Balder is clearly the best unit out of the 4. I think she's just insane, and she'll be good in every game mode. Arena, she'll score a little bit less, but other than that, I mean, she's just really great. In second place, it's more of a mix. I think I still like Byleth better than Eignithir. I really like the 3-space attack. I really like how mobile he can be. He offers decent support too. So I might have Byleth there. And then Eignithir in third, and then Sharena in last now. So kind of a little bit of a reverse there. I do like Eignithir's, I love Soren Ball, so I love Eignithir's playstyle. I just know the weaknesses also because I've played the Soren Ball strategy so much, and they didn't actually give Eignithir ways to remove the weaknesses that strategy already had, right? Larry's still good, Loki's still good, Thor just turns it off, so.
Yeah. Okay, so Joel, what about you?
Okay, I stayed up way too late after that banner and just did math. And so after seeing the 83 flat DR from Balder, I absolutely had her in first place. I thought she was very, very clearly going to be the BK counter, and that alone makes her very good.
Exactly.
Strangely enough, I wasn't very high on Byleth. I had to be convinced on him. I probably had him third or fourth when I was looking at the initial banner. I've slowly had him creep up into first. And I like to look at these as kind of a floor ceiling. Like I think Baldur has the highest ceiling and the highest floor, which is why I currently have her in first place. With Byleth, I think he could fall, but I still think he's fairly stable. You get to my third place, and Eikthenir, I worry about that unit. Like if he gets the right skills, he could definitely jump up, but I've seen how well they do with giving beast unit skills.
Right.
And so there is a
Like this very
possibility
banner
that-
where they didn't let them get Arc Rival.
Exactly.
Swapgate. They got Swapgate.
I
I love Swapgate, but man.
Oh, I apologize. In the Discord, someone was talking about, well, the one thing I wanted out of this banner was some good beast skills for my beast units.
Oh no.
Oh well. But I am worried most about Eikthenir. And Sharena, right now I have her in fourth place, but I think all of these are solid units, and I don't think Sharena falls much. Like, I think we know exactly what she is, and I don't see that getting bad, but I think it's kind of the Gatekeeper thing, which people make a lot of fun of Gatekeeper, but he held a spot for a very long time and was just flat. Gatekeeper was just good. He was never great. He was never amazing. He was just good.
Yeah.
I think Sharena is in that boat, but I will say she is really fun in Aether-Raid's offense. So that's kind of where I have people.
Okay, so for me, after seeing the Fate channel, I had it kind of close between Sharena and Hector. I think like by the end of the night, I might have just barely edged it to Sharena. Then I had Hector in second. Then I had Baldur in third, and I had Byleth in fourth. Now, after getting to play with the units, it almost like completely reversed. So I've got Baldur in first. I feel like just her combat potential is just something that's seemingly not going to get power crept as easily as the other units. I feel like their roles are more broadly defined as opposed to like being solo focused. So I feel like Baldur's probably in first for me right now. Then I have it kind of close between Hector and Byleth. I think I don't know which one of them I want to put in second. I really like Hector's ability to just turn anyone into a magic save. Like, not even a save unit. You could just run, like, I don't know, Fallen Male Alir and give him Canto Curb, and then all of a sudden now you have a save unit that has Canto Curb. So, like, interesting things like that I like about him. But, again, like we said, his combat isn't the best. His tanking against units like Camilla isn't really the best. So, if he falls and then you don't have any save units, then you're going to be in big trouble. But I would still give him the benefit of the doubt. I have him in second. I have Byleth just close behind him in third, and then I have Sharena in last. And it's not because I think Sharena is bad or anything. I just think Sharena is, out of the four, I feel like she's the one that's more defined in a single role than the other ones, where she's like just the Aether-Raid's offense Gale Forcer. The other ones, I feel like they can kind of mix it up a little better. They have more of a chance of like contributing in other game modes and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they would have just given her either the Bridal Sharena condition for extra action or let them Canto back into the 3 spaces, I think that would have been enough to make her good in SD. Like, just having her best...
Or let her survive Brave somehow.
Again, give her flat DR.
How about...
Give her flat DR.
No, you know what they could do? They could give you Miracle against the enemy's first attack and Brave attack. How about that?
That would have done it.
Oh, man.
That would have done it.
Yeah, but I mean, still though, there is counterplay. You could have Fatal Smoke, but it does help against the Erica ring. So like that would be nice.
Definitely.
Okay, so I guess that just about wraps us up here, gentlemen. I want to thank you all for joining me on short notice, kinda. Well, I gave Oblivion a little bit of a heads up, but Joel was just like right on the spot. Hey man, you want to record? And he's like, yup. So yeah, here we are. But as always, shout-outs to the homies, man. I always give it up to the fellow Fatubers, and these two in particular are two of the GOATs, in my opinion. So if you haven't already, definitely check out Joel's channel. He is found on FEHology at youtube.com. It's going to be a link to his channel in the description of the video. And, of course, the same for Oblivion. His channel you can find on Oblivion at youtube.com, and a link will be in the description of this video. So check him out and help him out. Give him a like and a sub, and... that's pretty much everything for this CYL podcast.
Thanks for having us on. It's always fun to talk about these units. It's one of the best times of the year, in my opinion, to always do this. And the meta always is just so exciting around Braves. So
Yeah.
always glad to talk about it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the most like meta changing banner of the year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people fully appreciate how hard what you do is, Tacho. This is like to make split decisions and keep them. So for the Brave banner, for instance, I had like 4 hours that I was poring over this. You had like 5 minutes. That's literally how quick you do this, and that is incredible. There is a lot of work in going into what you do, and you make it look probably a little too easy because people take it for granted. So I just pop this guy off a super chat. Like, he does a lot of work for the community, and we appreciate you.
I don't know.
Definitely.
According to my recent like viewers, I'm washed. I'm out of touch. I haven't played competitively. I'm a casual nowadays. So yeah, I don't know. I disagree with all the praise, but I don't take lightly praise. I do appreciate the kind words there, Joel. And I don't know.
It's your fault. Like, make it look too easy. That's really the problem.
I
you
don't
need
know.
to struggle a little more.
It's not like my early opinion was accurate or anything. I felt like I did a complete flip. Like, I had Sharena in first, now I have her in last. Like, that's what kind of.
But you had 5 minutes. Like, that's.
I think, yeah. I mean, I was in the same thing. It's really, if you guys ever end up recording or doing your own YouTube stuff, it's really difficult to read this much text and contextualize it and analyze it while being entertaining.
Yeah, dude,
not easy. I promise you.
The FEH channel was like 11 minutes, yet it had like half an hour's worth of text in it. It was like I was reading a book.
Exactly. Even Faye didn't want to read it. So
yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh man. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being on with me tonight, and definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Let me know what you guys think of the Brave units, and also let me know which one you think is the best and which one you think is the worst. So that's all for this one. Take care, guys, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.